So most people will look at the dead, decaying stuff in their garden, and their first impression is, ooh, that looks ugly. I need to rip it out, take it to the compost pile, or they burn it or something to make their garden look clean again. But in nature, this isn't ugly. In nature, this is reproduction. What happens is we get these little seed pods like this that grow from the flowers, and they fall over. Once these fall over and they start to slope like that, they start to rot away, and eventually they drop. When they drop, let me zoom in here. There we go. When they drop, they release all their seed. And if you can see that clearly in the camera, that is a lot of seeds just from one pod. So in nature, one seed produced this whole thing. And there was probably a good handful. Baby, how many did we get out of that, do you think?
At least 20.
We just pulled off all of these clusters. Rip one of these open.
Okay.
Look how many are inside one of these clusters. There's just an abundance in nature. So if one of these seeds can produce that entire plant, I don't know who's telling you it costs more to grow lettuce than it does to go to the grocery store and buy some, because this is the level of abundance that God put into the planet. So there is no reason that you should ever be buying things once you get the seed the first time. The reproduction habits of nature are outstanding. They're virtually indefinite. So I encourage you to go out to your properties, find your flowers and your vegetables, and help them self-seed. You can do the same thing over here with this old tomato I left on the vine. This is loaded with seed in there. So this is a beefsteak tomato. So what I can do is I can pull this back and get down to the dirt. I put that tomato in there and cover that back up, and that will sprout next season, and I'll have a whole new plant there. And I let all these leaves, roots of plants, they go down deep into the soil, and then they pull those nutrients up and they deposit them into the leaves. And then in the winter, the trees and everything around you do the same thing, and that's why the stuff on the ground, the bush layers and shrub layers, catch all the leaves from the trees, because the trees have the deepest leaves. They reach down into the most fertile part of the planet, and they pull those nutrients up, and then these plants catch it, and then they deposit their own leaves and the leaves of the trees all around the base where they're dropping the seed for the next succession of plants to come up. And so all of this nutrients is being deposited where the seeds are going to use it. So then new ones will pop up next season, fertilized. So nature's systems are just abundant and increasing upon themselves. So now I can take this same tomato right here, dig down to the soil here, and cover that one up right underneath all my leaves here. And if I really wanted to be picky about it, I could come out here and clean all this up. And probably will do a little bit of cleaning just because it doesn't look absolutely amazing. And I really would like a clean and neat garden. But there are things that you can do, like I just did in front of you here on the video, to show how things self-seed in nature and to help that succession continue on. We have lots and lots of ability to be the most beneficial organisms on the planet rather than the most harmful. Modern agriculture would have you scrap all of this garden bed out and have you clear it to bare soil, and then have you start fresh with new seeds after you put your store-bought bag of manufactured soil on top. But here it is, nature creating its own abundance in fertile soils conditions to reseed itself. So why would I do that? If I pull this stuff back, it's December, what day is it? 9th. December 9th. It's December 9th. And that's how fluffy and nice my soil is. Anywhere else on a standard garden, the soil would be getting hard and solid. I come from Wyoming, and in Wyoming this time of year, if it weren't mulched thick like we do here with our wood chips, that soil, you would not be able to dig into there. I just did the same thing over here where my boys are digging trenches. We pulled it back and we found a whole slew of worms where they were digging. So there are, the mulch system is a system of nature. It self-mulches with leaves and fallen trees and things all year long. And it's a lasagna. Nobody digs it up and turns it. It's a lasagna stacking, and then all the shrub layers catch this fertilizer from nature, and then it re-fertilizes itself. Trees will then sprout new buds, and then they'll soak up that extra abundance and nutrients and continue on. So these are the things that are neglected in people's eyes in the garden. So I hope I gave you some good tips this morning, and you can apply some of these things. One more cool thing that Rizzy learned this morning while we were reading a little bit, I had no idea. So we're going to start adding this to our product listing when we go over to Faith Havens and we start to manufacture our own wild crafted, sourced herbal products and salves and teas and things of that nature. We found out strawberry leaves are one of the most rich sources of vitamin C that nature produces. And strawberry leaf tea is super, super beneficial in a medicinal sense, as well as absolutely delicious. And so every year, your strawberry crops look like this. People come in and they thin them. Maybe they'll give them away, but they don't really. I mean, I've never heard of anybody ever in all of my gardening years harvest the leaves and dry them out for tea. I don't know why, because that's amazing, but I've never done it. I never even crossed my mind to do that, which is funny because I come out here and I'll harvest this stuff, which is ground ivy. This is an amazing lung help in your respiratory system. But sitting right here in this patch of strawberry, and I get lots of it. So I mean, I'm learning things new every day. So there's never a level where you're not going to learn something. Nature has so many variables and ever increasing amounts of things that we can learn and grow from. So now you know something more, and so do I. Happy December. Merry Christmas. Say Merry Christmas, Rizzy.